There we go. Hi, Anita. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Listeners, I've got Anita Faulkner with me. She used to be a member of our book club. That's how I first met Anita. It must be sort of 5 years ago, is it, Anita?
Yeah, doesn't time fly? I think you're right, Christina. It was about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Time flies. And since that time, Anita, you've packed so much into your life. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know you've got a book publishing deal. Amazing.
Yes.
I remember when I first met you that you talked at book club about, quite quietly actually, quite shy about it, I seem to remember. You talked a bit about how you were writing a book. Now, is this the book that's coming out, or is it a different book that's coming out?
No, actually, this book that's coming out in June, so it's called A Colourful Country Escape, isn't actually the first book that I wrote. So the book that I was writing when I was in Gloucester Book Club with you lovely people, that's still kind of hiding in a drawer somewhere. So yeah, that book was kind of the cutting my teeth book, if you like. It was the book where I was learning how to write a book. I wrote it, I rewrote it several times, I submitted it, I got lots of rejections. I felt very sad and thought I'll never make it. But then, yeah, book two is much more commercial, I think, and it's a bit more mature in its writing style. So it's still witty and funny, but I think the writing is much stronger. So yes, not the first book that I've written, but the first book that is good enough to get out there.
Brilliant. So tell us a bit about the book that is going to be published. You know, it's called A Colourful Country Escape. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah. When's it coming out and who's publishing it?
It will be out on 9th of June next year. But it's already available now on Amazon for pre-order, so you can bag one of the very first copies either on ebook or paperback. I think it's going to be out on audio as well nearer the time. So yeah, my publisher is called, well, the publishing group is Little Brown. The imprint is Sphere.
Ah, good publisher.
Yes.
So pleased to bag that publisher. Brilliant, Little Brown. Yeah, so how did you go through the process of actually getting published, Anita?
I was really lucky, actually, because I'm part of a fantastic association called the Romantic Novelists Association, and I was in their new writers scheme for quite a few years, which meant that being in the RNA gives you lots of extra opportunities. So they run lots of events and a yearly conference each year. So at their summer conference a couple of years ago, which was all online, in fact, because of the pandemic, I was able to submit my work to Little Brown in what they call an industry one-to-one. Yeah. And ordinarily you wouldn't be able to submit your work to a big publisher like Little Brown without an agent. Yeah. And I didn't have an agent at the time. I do have a lovely agent called Kate Nash now, but at the time I didn't have an agent. So I was able to kind of sneak in the back door by being part of the Romantic Novelists Association. I submitted to Little Brown, their commissioning editor, who's called Rebecca Roy, loved the book and said, yeah, let's make a few changes and see where it goes. So yeah, I was super excited to manage to grab a big publisher.
Yeah, I bet you were. I mean, that sounds like really good kind of advice for anyone out there who's listening, who's sort of thinking, you know, how do I ever get my books looked at? How do I ever get them into print? You know, so would you recommend joining the, you know, that, is it the RNA you mentioned?
Yes, the RNA, the Romantic Novelists Association. Yeah, if you write books with any kind of romance in them, whether it's fantasy with romance, whether it's historical or rom-com or whatever, yeah, join the RNA, because you get so many fantastic opportunities that you just wouldn't get by yourself. So it's, yeah, definitely the power of being in a bigger group with lots of other supportive writers.
That sounds really good. Yeah, I thoroughly recommend it by the sound of it. So how do you do your writing, Anita? Are you one of these people who gets up really early and writes for hours, or you know, what do you do? How do you manage it? Because I know you've got little boy as well, so it must be difficult.
Yes, my little one's nearly 4 now, but for the past maybe 3 or 4 years, I have been doing those really weird 5 a.m. starts that people talk about. So yeah, they really work for me. I would never have called myself a morning person, But now that I've started with the 5 a.m. starts, yeah, I love kind of that quiet time in the morning where I can just have some peace to think and to create before the rest of the world is awake, or certainly the rest of my house is awake. So yes, I do a 5 a.m. start. Then a bit later on, when my little one's at playgroup, I write again. And then again in the evenings, if I get some time, I'm either doing my social media, catching up, marketing, or I'm writing again. So yeah, lots of little writing sprints.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Do you get really tired because you're getting up at 5 a.m. and I guess you have to go to bed really early, Anita?
Yes, I do. I'm in bed by maybe 9:15, reading my book, falling asleep. Actually, I don't get too tired. I'm quite lucky, I think. In the days before my 5 a.m. starts, I was probably more tired, because you find if you keep hitting snooze instead of getting out of bed, it can be tiring. But if you just jump up when your body is ready, actually that can be quite energizing. So it's not as bad as it sounds.
Sounds really good. I do remember, I can't believe that your little boy is now 4, because I remember, when you were bringing him along to our sort of book club coffee gatherings, weren't you? And the coffee shop route. He was little, he was tiny, and I remember holding him. I remember having him on my lap, for a while when you were there. And I can't believe he's 4. So he must be coming up to going to school soon, is he? Or
not yet. We've got until next September, so he's going to be one of the older ones. I feel like he's really ready to go as well. He's a clever kid, but we've got a while to wait.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so you must be working, I'm guessing, on your next book. Are you working on something else as well, Anita, at the moment?
I am, yeah. So A Colourful Country Escape is the one that's going to be out in June, and that's set in Tewkesbury, actually. So it's a few local connections for anyone that has been to Tewkesbury. I'm sure lots of your Gloucester Book Club members will have been. So you've got that beautiful backdrop of the high street with the black and white buildings. But A Colourful Country Escape. Shall I talk about that first before
Tell us more. Yeah.
So it's set on a fictional estate, and it's the story of Lexi and Ben. So they're kind of complete opposites. You've got Lexi, who she's really vibrant, sociable, outgoing, but she's not so good with her finances. So she's she's always a little bit hard up. She's got a heart of gold, so if she's got any money, she'll give it away to a good cause, and suddenly she can't pay her bills or whatever. And then you've got Ben, who's the opposite. So he's more of a Mr. Darcy type. He's got lots of money, but he's very standoffish and not at all sociable. So these two kind of come together. They're thrown together because Lexi is going to try and help Ben save his paint business. So she turns up at Nutgrass Hall, it's called, which is set in Tewkesbury. It's like a mini Downton Abbey, and she feels really intimidated when she gets there. There are these scary peacocks, and it's when she gets inside, there are paintings of grand noblemen on the walls and suits of armor and all of that kind of stuff. And from her poor background, she just feels a bit intimidated. And then there's Ben, who seems a bit mean, really. But they're thrown together in this scenario where they've got to try and make this paint business work. And also they're two, I like to think of my characters as two jigsaw pieces that kind of need each other to connect. So each character has got something that the other character needs to be complete and to learn to love. So it's their story of how they get together, but with lots of conflict as well, because Ben's mum actually wants him to marry someone affluent so that they can keep the family money and the family business. So Lexi there camping out on the driveway in her vintage orange camper van and making a big old mess, that's not what she wants. But there we go, lots of conflict along the way.
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds really good. So so that's the story of the one that's coming out next year, The Colourful Country Escape. So if anyone's listening and that piques your interest, get on Amazon and pre-order. And And so the one that's coming after this then, that's already in the writing, is it, Anita?
Yeah, so the one I'm writing at the moment is a Christmas novel. I need to have that with my publisher by the end of the year. So yeah, I've written about 80,000 words so far, probably got another 10 or 20 to write. But yeah, I'm well on the way. It's a Christmas novel. This one is all about a gingerbread cafe. So this couple inherit a gingerbread cafe together, and there's Gretel, who really loves Christmas and she's really excited about this cafe, but she can't bake. And then there's Lucas, who is a proper Grinch. He hates Christmas and doesn't want anything to do with this and just wants to sell it on. And it's the story of how they rebuild this cafe, which is flailing, and bring the community together as well. So yeah, lots of feel goods in that one too.
And is that another local Gloucestershire set novel, or?
Yeah, it's set in the Cotswolds, although it's a fictitious area. So yeah, you'll probably recognise snatches of the Cotswolds in there.
Yeah. Do you find that you need to go around places and do a little bit of research into them before you sort of put them into your novels, Anita?
Yeah, I tend to write about places that I've been to before that kind of strike my interest. But then as I'm writing, I'm sitting there on YouTube or Street View or whatever, and I'm walking around the streets or I'm having a nosy. Yeah, I'm experiencing it all again so that I try and get the information right, but yeah, get a good feel for it as I write.
What a good idea to use Street View and stuff to help you, instead of having to physically go there, you can actually do it all online, can't you?
Yeah.
You also manage, and you're the founder and organizer of a lively Facebook group called Chicklit and Prosecco. It's a great name. Tell us a bit about that. How long's that been going?
I would say maybe a good 2 or 3 years. I started it just to share my writing journey, really, just to collect up other readers and writers of chick lit or rom-com, whatever you'd like to call it, and to share the writing and reading journey together. So we share our recommendations for books, and we do lots of live author interviews. We have a summer festival every year as well, where we give lots of training on writing for upcoming writers. Christmas do, we might even have a Christmas do as well this year. So yeah, we have a lot of fun in Chicklit and Prosecco.
Yeah, there's
just share our love of books.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yes, we're busy.
So and if anyone's out there listening and they think, yeah, I wouldn't mind being a part of that, what do they have to do? How do they find you?
If they just go to Facebook and use the search bar at the top and write in Chicklit and Prosecco, then we should pop up. So yeah, do come and join us, because we're a super friendly bunch, and whether you're a reader or a writer, we love to share the journey with you.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So if you're out there listening, it's a Facebook group, get on there and join. This is probably a really silly question, given that you get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, you've got a little boy, you're full-time writing. I know you've got another job as well, Anita, on top of that you're doing.
Yes, I'm a copywriter as well, so lots to do.
A copywriter as well. So you must be super busy. Do you get any time for hobbies?
Well, when I was a solicitor before I had my little boy, my hobby was writing, but now my job is writing, so yeah, it's a bit tricky. I need new hobbies, but I do like to meditate and to journal. I really like a bit of yoga or exercise, just anything that helps me to switch my brain off, really. Because I find that if I don't take that time out for headspace, then the creativity just dries up. So you do need to take some time out for you, some self-care time, some time to just switch your brain off and help your creativity.
Is that something that you find is quite, do you have a very kind of active brain? Are you constantly thinking about things to do with your writing and what you could put in a book and, the next book after this one? Is that something you find?
Yeah, particularly since becoming a mum as well, because your brain is always thinking 10 steps ahead of all the things that you need to do, as well as your writing, your work, running a house. So switching off your brain is always good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's true for all of us, isn't it? I guess we all lead pretty busy lives these days. So any chance to kind of come down off it and
Yes.
do something, even if it's just watching a lovely film on the TV,
Yeah.
is really important. So what kind of books do you enjoy reading yourself? You know, what have you got on your bedside table to read?
Ooh. So the books I enjoy reading, that's actually what I loved about being in Gloucester Book Club, because you would push me out of my comfort zone. So some of my favourite books actually have been books that I've read with you, lovely people. So Eleanor Oliphant was a favourite.
Yes, yes.
A Man Called Ove is probably going to be one of my all-time favourites as well.
I love that book. That's so sweet. So
isn't
lovely.
he lovely?
Yeah.
Girl on the Train as well, we read together. That was great. But in terms of women's fiction and rom-com, probably Lindsay Kelk. I love Lindsay Kelk.
Okay.
Marion Keyes.
Yes.
She always gets right in there with the issues, and she's so funny and lovely. And lots of writers from my own group, actually. So in Chicklet and Prosecco, we've got brilliant writers. We've got, who have we got? We've got Florence Keeling. I love reading her stuff. Lucy Keeling as well. We've got Katie Ginger. We've got Jamie Admans. I could go on forever.
Too many.
So many brilliant writers. But you wanted to know actually what was next on my book list.
Yeah.
So I was really excited this week because one of my writer friends called Abby Yardumchi has got her book out this week. So it's called Everything Is Yours, and it's the third in a trilogy. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that one next. It's I don't know if you've ever read Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yes.
So I think Abby's style of writing is a bit like that. So it's kind of uplifting, life journey, spiritual, that kind of vibe. It's really lovely, really beautiful kind of style of writing. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah, okay. And you got a busy Christmas coming up, Anita? Is there lots of stuff you have to do around Christmas, or are you just going to chill out for a bit?
I haven't really started yet because it was my birthday a week or so ago. It's my son's birthday at the beginning of December, so I just feel a bit like I'm in birthday mode. But yeah, definitely looking forward to Christmas and all those Hallmark movies as well. Do you watch those cheesy ones on Channel 5?
Yeah. One of the actually another movie that I always seem to tend to want to watch at Christmas is It's a Wonderful Life. You know that one with James Stewart?
I haven't seen that one, to my own shame. I must watch that this year.
You've got to watch it. You've got to watch it. It gives you such great ideas for your next book.
Yeah.
We in book club at the moment, we are just discussing a book by Matt Haig, which is actually, I mean, it's his sequel to well, it's not really a sequel actually, but he wrote How to Stop Time, if you remember. So we're just at the moment in the process of discussing his latest book, which actually I should forgotten the name of. I'm awful, but it's a brilliant book. And again, this is all about, you know, being happy with your life as it is, not trying to. It's about a girl called Nora who is got problems with her mental health, and she is going downhill quite fast. And in fact, she tries to commit suicide, but she overdoses. But she goes into this. I know what it's called now, the Midnight Library.
Okay, yes, I've heard of it. Brilliant.
You heard of it? She goes into this Midnight Library, and she gets to choose all these books off the shelves, and they're all the different lives that she could have led.
Oh, wow.
And so she goes into these different lives to see what they could have been like, and actually comes back out of them again, because although she fantasizes that she's missed out on choices, you know, she has regrets about what choices she could have made in her life, she actually finds that life wouldn't have been perfect for her either. So she kind of comes out of them, and we're hopeful of a happy ending at the end of the book. But again, it reminded me of the film It's a Wonderful Life, you know, where he kind of has all these different regrets about his life. So yeah, we get all these sort of great films that come up at Christmas, don't we? Can, you know, veg out on the sofa, having eaten too much, and watch whatever.
Well, as a writer, when I read films, as a writer, when I watch films, I'm kind of dissecting them to work out how the story structure works, what the character arcs are. So yeah, a bit different for me. I don't tend to switch off, and my husband will get really bored of me shouting out the plot points. I'll say, oh look, whiff of death, as they call it, or this is the end of Act 2, or oh, we're breaking into Act 3 now, and he's just thinking,
he's like,
woman,
be quiet.
But yeah, I love the film. The Hallmark movies are brilliant at Christmas because they're very well structured, so you can work out their plot points easily, and you can learn a lot as a writer if you watch them.
Yeah, and I guess it's just like feel good stuff, isn't it? And everybody wants a bit of that around Christmas, so yeah,
the magic,
nice thing to do. Yeah. So as always, I would say one of the best ways to support new authors is to pre-order their books, and actually you can do that on Amazon. If you go and visit there, you can or pre-order Anita's book. Just remind them again, Anita, what it's called.
It's called A Colourful Country Escape, so do go and have a nosy. You can, if you search A Colourful Country Escape, or if you search Anita Faulkner, it should pop up. You can't miss it because it's got an orange camper van on the front and a few scary peacocks.
Scary peacocks, right, okay. And if you want to follow Anita, where's the best way to find you, Anita?
Oh, lots of places. My favourite place to hang out, Christina, is always going to be my Facebook group, which is called Chicklit and Prosecco. So do come and find us over there. My website's anitafaulkner.co.uk. And if you join my mailing list, you can have my freebie, which is a lovely PDF guide that I put together called The 3 Best Kept Secrets of an Author. So yes, have a look at my website too.
Okay, and are you on Twitter and Instagram?
I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, yes. All of the places. Haven't yet conquered TikTok, but I'm in most places. Are you TikToking? Book-tocking?
No, I'm not TikToking. I just have a look at it, Anita, and I'm just thinking I've got Twitter and Instagram going on, and I've got a Facebook group. It's probably more than enough for me.
Absolutely.
So, TikTok I'll leave to other people. I'm sure there are others out there who can do it much better. But, it's been really great to talk to you. And thank you so much for giving up some hours on your precious Saturday to talk to me about the ways that you're moving forward with your writing. It's so fantastic for our book club to know that we've got a published author who once came to our meetings.
Thank you so much for having me, though. And I like to still think of myself as an honorary member of your book club. I do follow your page and your group and your podcasts, which are brilliant. And I love hearing your podcast because I can I remember the names and the voices, so it's lovely to hear you all.
I know podcast is a new thing for us, as you probably know. We've only been doing it about 6 or 7 months, but actually we really love it. We really enjoy doing them, and it's always great to have a guest on. So you're our very first proper guest.
Ooh, hooray.
And I hope you won't be the last one. And I hope that you'll come back again at some point and let us know what your next book is. And we will be, hopefully, maybe you'd like to come along to one of our book club meetings next year when the book's out, just to talk to us about it all. We'd love to see you.
I'd love to. Thank you.
There are loads of people at book club who remember you and who would love to have you back. So
brilliant.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I hope you have a great weekend, Anita. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.